What is up, guys? I'm your friendly neighborhood web war fanatic, and we have the Civil War scenario expansion that was just announced here for Marvel Champions, and it has been confirmed that there will be a competitive mode for a normally co-op game here, a PvP mode in this expansion as well. So I'm super excited to go over that with you guys. And yeah, I apologize for tardiness on this video. I was a bit busy this morning, but I'm here now. We can go over everything in this box. And I have skimmed through everything in this article because I could not hold my excitement. So apologies for that. This will not be my first reactions, but I'll go over my opinion on everything. So basically this scenario right here, or this campaign, or not a campaign, this expansion box right here, is going to have 4 scenarios instead of the regular 5, and it won't have a campaign anymore, right? It's going to be 4 individual scenarios, and it's going to be a Spider-Woman scenario, a Captain America scenario, a Captain Marvel scenario, and an Iron Man scenario. So super duper fun, and I've taken a look at these scenarios already. They are very thematic and very similar to the hero versions of these heroes and like their identity specific cards, but like put into like an encounter deck, which is really cool. Some of these are super duper cool. So basically the lore here is that the Superhero Registration Act has officially passed, and then now anyone who wants to use their powers for good must agree to be trained and governed by SHIELD, or you face arrest. So Iron Man is in full support, and Captain America is fully opposed. And you also have Captain Marvel here, who's siding with Iron Man, and then Spider-Woman is siding with Captain America. So basically, there's 2 sides. It's gonna be the registration side, and then the resistance side. So we'll see this term a lot more in this article. It's going to be 2 different sides that you can choose, and which side you want to play with and which side that you're facing against, right? So there are no villains this time. Instead, the custom scenario expansion has players facing off against heroic leaders, and Iron Man and Captain Marvel lead the charge in support of the Registration Act. Captain America and Spider-Woman lead the resistance, and then they all come with a fully customizable scenario with a wide range of main schemes and modular encounter sets to build your own unique Civil War experience. So it's really cool. It looks very customizable. Like there's tons of different module sets, and even each scenario you can pick different main schemes that you can use with, right? So yeah, we're gonna be taking a look at this here. So we have Captain Marvel, Iron Man, and then Maria Hill is in her own separate module set, and here we have Captain America and Spider-Woman as their leaders, and then Spider-Man is going to be in his own Spider-Man module set right here, which is also really, really cool. So it's a custom experience. So unlike the previous big box expansions, there is no campaign. I'm not too mad at that because the campaign was my least favorite part of Marvel Champs anyway, so I don't really feel like we're losing too much with that. But the box will have the 4 pre-constructed scenarios ready to play from the get-go, and you also have a bunch of additional like module sets that you can mix and match. So yeah, it even includes the main schemes here, right? So I've already taken a look at this, but basically for the main schemes, for the registration, you have to pick, if you're going to be with the resistance or the registration, and then which main scheme you pick will correspond with that. And then for the registration here, there are 8 main schemes that you guys can see right here with the 4 out of 8 and 1 out of 8. And the 4 of them is going to be the stage 1B, and the other 4 is going to be the stage 2s, right? So the stage 2Bs. And it's cool because you can even intermix and match like a specific, stage 1B with a different stage 2B. So I can play the same scenario and have like, this one right here, the cutoff support, where if there's more than 1 player on your team, the stage gains a hinder 2, and a force interrupt is whenever a player reviews a treachery, you place a threat on here, which is the reverse of like She-Hulk's I object, right, which is pretty cool. And for She Recruits right here, for this one, the enemy team searches the encounter deck for 1 per player minion, and deal 1 of them to each player on your team as a face-down encounter card, right? So this one has a more nasty one reviewed, and this one kind of has a constant ability, right? So you can kind of like have a different one, but the experience for the stage 2B, whenever you advance the main scheme, right, whenever this hits 7 per player, it will also be a different one that you can kind of intermix with, right? It doesn't have to be like got the cutoff support. Does not have to be with a specific main scheme stage 2. It can be with any one of the other ones, right? So that's pretty cool. And then we also have for the resistance side, the rallying call here, where each minion gains guard, and if there is more than 1 player on your team, the stage gains a hinder 2. And then there's also the going underground here, and then the enemy leader gains steady. So yeah, just different effects for different main schemes that you can kind of pick and choose, right? So this is the resistance 4 out of 8, and the rallying call was the resistance 2 out of 8. And what's really cool is that this is very mixable with the player versus player mode, and it's also very interchangeable with any prior module sets that we've seen, like in the previous expansions, like with the core set and everything, right? We can play everything with that. With this, we can play this with that, and we can mix this box with the PvP stuff, which is really cool. So I'm excited to see how that will all flow. And then the second stage can also vary with nasty options like the negative zone prison. This one I've seen, it was super duper nasty. So as a force response, after an ally is defeated by an enemy attack, we place that ally face down underneath this scheme. So it is very deterrent to chump blocking, which is really cool that they're also incorporating, deterring chump blocking in, this scenario right here. And then you also reduce the target threat value of the scheme by 1 for each face down card under it. I don't know if there's ways to save those allies and get them out, but if there isn't, that's really rough here. And then this will go down to, if it's like one player is going to be 9, but instead of 9, it's going to be 8 if you have one ally, face down underneath this card. And it just keeps on going down and down and down each time an ally is defeated by an enemy attack, right? So that's really cool. So this main scheme, stage 2B, you can get there with this main scheme 1B or with this one, right? It doesn't have to be specifically one or the other. So just very customizable. And then what's the other one? We have neighborhood protectors for the resistance here. And then it's this stage 2B. When reviewed, the enemy team searches the encounter deck and discard power for 1 per player side schemes and deals 1 to each player on your team as a face encounter card, right? So this one isn't going to be as bad. I think that could be really bad in PvP though, because then the enemy team can search for that one and deal it to yourself, right? So you can have the player that you're facing search through the encounter deck and then get whatever they want to give you as a nasty side scheme. So yeah, definitely very customizable. Looks like there's a lot of variety in here. So there are 4 stage 1 main schemes and then 4 stage 2 main schemes for each of the conflicts. And then when you add in the 2 heroic leaders on that side, you're looking at 32 possible combinations for registration and 32 for resistance. So yeah, that is really cool. It looks like we can really change up however we want to play this, right? And then this was the Maria Hill module set that I talked about earlier, and it's the Spider-Man one right here. Yeah, Avenger, Elite, and Shield for Maria Hill. Maria Hill has Retaliate 2 printed on her, card, and she is a minion here, right? And then when reviewed, the enemy team searches the encounter deck and discard power for a copy of the life model decoy, and you attach to Maria Hill. And Spider-Man attacks each character with the Tangled Up attached. And if no attack was made, you search the encounter deck and discard power for a copy of Tangle Up, and you give it to yourself as a face encounter card. So he's going to be webbing you up if you're not already webbed up. And if you are, he's going to attack you, right? That's what Spider-Man does. Yeah, so it's pretty cool here. And then 8 module sets for 16 total module sets in the box. Range from Maria Hill, and there's also in a Mighty Avengers one that they show a little bit later down the article, which we'll go over later. And we also have the new Avengers one here. This one I believe has Falcon in it. So when defeated, we shuffle each minion in the encounter, discard power back into the encounter deck. So a lot of really cool and fun minions that we have going on here as well, which is also going to be really fun to play with. So you may have noticed that many of the cards we've shown so far mention an enemy team or enemy leader and similar terms. And this is to help balance out for the co-op mode and the PvP mode, so the competitive mode here, which is going to be at the end of this article. So yeah, okay, that's going to be pretty cool. And it says here that you can just mix this, right? So you can use like the Maria Hill module set from Civil War and put it into the Baron Zemo scenario from the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. expansion, right? And you can do whatever you want and just mix that up. So yeah, okay, from friends to enemies. So let's take a look at the first scenario here, which is the Iron Man one. And if you guys know the Iron Man hero, you build out your suit with Iron Man, and for each tech upgrade that you have, you get +1 to your hand size, and you get benefits to your other abilities as well, right? So Iron Man here is going to be the leader, aka the villain, right? It says somewhere in this article. Let me find it, actually. It's going to say villain. Let's see, we refer to them as leaders here, but they're not really villains, right? Because, Iron Man is a good guy, but you treat these leaders as villains for any game effects that refers to the villain, and it certainly hit as hard as villains in the past. So we put in a module set from like a previous expansion, and it says like, the villain, gets +1 hit point or like whatever, then you will refer to the team leader that you're facing, which is going to be like Iron Man right here, right? So Iron Man gets +1 scheme for each tech attachment on him to a max of +3 scheme. So he's really going to feel like he's building out his suit and building out his scheme. And then for setup here, the enemy team searches the encounter deck for an Iron Man attachment, and then your team reviews it. And one of his attachments here is going to be the Mark 5 armor. You give it to Iron Man. When he would take any amount of damage, we place it on here instead. If there's 5 or more, then we discard his card. So very similar to the actual Mark 5 armor, in Iron Man's original identity-specific kit from the core set. Same artwork here, which I actually don't mind, because they have new artwork here for the villain card, but the exact same artworks for the attachments and the encounter cards, which I think is actually pretty cool. cool. It gives like homage to you know, those old cards there from the core set from 5 years ago. And then let's see what else. I'm gonna go over his other cards here. So here's the Power Gauntlets. He gets +1 attack for this one, and his attacks gain range, which is very thematic here. I don't know why he never had that from the core set, but yeah, he has it here. Hero response: after you make a basic attack against Iron Man, spend a energy and physical resource to discard this card. So that is like the worst way to get rid of an attachment, where you have to make a basic attack against that villain, and then you have to spend resources in addition to that, and then you can get rid of the card, right? So pretty nasty. It also comes out as a boost effect, and it is going to be a tech attachment for Iron Man. We'll see later on what they do, but they also give him, you know, the +1 scheme with this printed, you know, villain text right here. And then we also have the rocket boots. So another +1 attack here, and he gains the aerial trait with this one. He responds: after you make a basic attack against Iron Man, spend a energy and physical to discard this card. So same super nasty thing there. And then let's see, the Mark V helmet, same artwork as the core set, same as the other ones. Attach to Iron Man and give him a tough stats card. He gains stalwart with the helmet, so that's very thematic. And after you make a base attack against him, spend a mental and a physical to discard this card. So it really feels like, you know, that meme of like whenever a good guy becomes a villain, they're so much stronger than they were before whenever they're just a good guy. I think all of these attachments are so much better for the villain, you know, Iron Man than the hero one. And the Mark V armor, we already took a look at that earlier. And then he has cards like the Supersonic Punch right here. So it's a Treachery. And it's really cool, the same artwork as the event that we had. And then when reviewing Alter Ego, Iron Man schemes: if he has a tech attachment, you are confused. This one, he attacks you. If he has a tech attachment, he gains piercing. So really cool, really thematic. It gets more bonuses the more of his tech attachment that he has in play. And I'm sure that, we haven't seen that, but I'm sure that there will be cards that combo with the aerial trait, just like the hero version. And yeah, cards that combo with which attachment he has. So I'm really excited for this scenario. It looks really fun. And you know, I think it's not going to be legal to face the Iron Man villain with the Iron Man hero because of the unique rule. But you guys know I'm definitely going to do that. And we'll do like a good Tony versus like a bad Tony. We're really excited to try this stuff out. So we have here Yellowjacket and Doc Samson in the Mighty Avengers, you know, modular set in the Initiative modular set as well. I think that these come with, yeah, come with the Iron Man scenario right here. So yeah, these are just some minions that we have. You know, 2 scheme, 1 attack, toughness. One of you would give the enemy leader a tough status card, which will refer to Iron Man if you're using this smarter set with him. And this one, it says, one of you are confused. If you're already confused, place 2 threat on the main scheme. So, you know, just some pretty decent mid-level minions right here. And it could get really nasty if you leave them in play for a long time. This thing is really nasty. The Mighty Avengers. Resolve the 1 reviewed ability of each minion in play. If no 1 reviewed abilities were resolved, this card gains surge. So this just makes sure that this does not fizzle. But if you leave all these minions here, all of their one reviewed abilities will trigger with the Mighty Avengers there. So we definitely want to get rid of them and not leave them in play for a long time. And then next would be the Captain Marvel scenario right here. So Carol Danvers, 1 scheme, 2 attack. And the setup is you find her energy channel here and you attach it to her. And after Captain Marvel attacks and defeats a character, we place 1 energy counter on the energy channel. So really cool, same artwork as her regular energy channel, and it stays in play as an attachment this time. And after a leader, hero, or ally attacks Captain Marvel, you place 1 counter here. If there are at least 4, you remove all of them. Captain Marvel attacks the character that placed the counter, and the attack gains overkill. So I love the overkill stuff there. I love the stuff that deters chump blocking, because that really means these scenarios will be more difficult. And I don't know how difficult they'll be. I think that obviously you can customize them to make them a little bit easier by choosing, you know, the weaker main schemes that we saw earlier. But I think definitely if you pick like this one as a stage 2B main scheme, and you have like, you know, the overkill stuff with like Captain Marvel, or even like a bunch of tech attachments on Iron Man, they could get really tough. So I have no clue how these will play out yet, but they look fun and thematic at least, even if they're not going to be super tough. So yeah, they talk about the energy channel here, and then she has her Cosmic Flight here. It's a 1 cost, you know, attachment to Captain Marvel, and then whenever she would take more than 3 damage on attack, we reduce the amount to 3 and discard this card. She also has the Photonic Blast here. It's a Treachery instead of an event, same artwork. And when reviewed in Alter Ego, discard an ally or support control. When reviewed in hero form, she attacks you, place 1 energy counter on the energy channel. And I saw this card earlier. The Crisis Interdiction is one of the worst story events in Marvel Champions, but as a Treachery here, it's not that bad. In Alter Ego, Captain America will, or Captain Marvel, I mean, will scheme, which is really nasty. Place 1 energy counter on energy channel. And in hero form, place 2 threat on each scheme. That is a really, really nasty effect there. I think there is a either an expert 2 or a standard 2 card that does a similar effect where you place 2 threat on every single scheme. So like even if you're, in hero form, she won't be scheming, but you can still add 2 threat on the main scheme. And if there's a bunch of side scheme play, you get 2 threat on all of them, which could really stack up and be really, really nasty. So definitely a good card, similar to the event version, right, where you get threat on multiple schemes, or you can thwart off multiple schemes. I mean, this one you place threat on every single scheme. And she also has the energy absorption. Instead of being a triple resource like it is for her hero kit, it's going to be place 1 energy counter on the energy channel, and you heal 1 damage from Captain Mara for each energy counter on that attachment that we saw earlier. And she's going to also come in with some larger sets here with the Cape Killer, Shield Soldier. Yeah, and then this one has Quick Strike. Whenever he attacks an identity with an unregistered trait, it gets +2 for attack. This one, the one review, you put the topmost shield minion in the encounter discard pile into play engage with you. So fun there. You get to, just grab the topmost minion that has a shield trait and you put it into play engage with you. So yeah, some cool stuff here. Ooh, what is rapid response? I think I missed that one earlier. Oh, cool. Okay, one review. Discard cards from the encounter deck until a minion is discarded. If you're an Alter Ego, you place it on the main scheme equal to a minion's scheme, and in hero form, do damage to your hero equal to a minion's attack. Okay, so not really rapid responsing like from discard pile, like the hero version of the card, but it's still a cool way to get a minion to play, right? Just tons of minions really swarm against us, which I think is always fun. Captain America scenario right here. So he's going to be one of the leaders for the resistance. 1 scheme to attack. Setup is you find Cap's shield and you attach to Captain America. I'm not sure if Cap's shield here it's different, like it's different than Captain America's shield, right? Because it's unique. So is there a way to have the Captain America shield in play with Cap's shield? Like, are they saying that it's legal to play with like the hero Steve Rogers? I'm not sure because of that unique trait here. Normally, we would not be able to play with Captain America, the villain and the hero. But I'm not sure why this is here like this. And then we do have the new title card, the Captain America title, which can put the Captain America shield into play. But for that one, with the title being Captain America, there's also a villain title Captain America here. So I'm not sure if that will work either. I think we need some more clarification on that. But definitely interesting if that'll work out that way. And I love the shield stuff here. So for response, after a Cap shield is attached to Captain America, you give him a tough stats card, very thematic. And over here, attach character against Retaliate 1, and the attacks against them lose piercing, which is really cool, and it synergizes with the villain's, tough stats card thing here. Force response, after a hero or the Captain America leader uses their attack to attack and damage attached character, you attach Cap's shield to the attacker. So this is just like the Power Stone with Ronin, and I love the Power Stone mechanics here. So this is very similar. One thing that I like about this one though is not about dealing and taking damage. It's very simple. It's just attack and damage attack character, right? Or the attached character. So you just have to do damage. So it doesn't matter if you block all the attack. It doesn't matter how much damage is dealt. If you do damage to Captain America, you can steal his shield as long as you're using your ATK, your attack. And then if Captain America attacks you back, he does damage to you, then he'll take the shield back, right? That tug of war, stealing his shield, and he takes it back away from you. Pretty cool there. And then let me see. So he has a shield, and he's notoriously tough to put down. Very tough there. And then he has a shield block here, where whenever he's reviewed, or this treasure is reviewed, if Cap shield is attached to Captain America, give him a tough stats card and a face down boost card. Otherwise, attach Cap shield to him and give him a face down boost card. So it's really cool here because it looks like he's gonna get tough so many different ways, but you can't pierce off the tough because of this shield right here, where attacks against them lose piercing, right? That is really fun. So you actually have to knock off those toughs manually. I like that. It really makes like Captain America is going to have a reliable way to block out piercing. And the shield toss here, same artwork as the core set player cards. Captain America schemes if this is reviewed in Alter Ego. In the hero form, if Cap shield is attached to him, do 2 damage to each character you control. Otherwise, attach Cap shield to Captain America. This is super duper nasty. If you have a bunch of allies in play, he'll just swing his shield, knock them all out if they have like less than 2 hit points left. So nasty, guys. Oh my goodness, this is crazy. And then if he has a shield, then he'll just take it away from you, right? Very thematic. I love how these scenarios are. I don't know if maybe the heroes are easier to design in terms of like making them thematic, but I am really loving the way these scenarios look so far. And we also have his heroic strike, where in Alter Ego, you discard an ally or upgrade control. And when reviewing a hero form, he attacks you. If the attack damages a character, stun that character. And then Super Soul Serum here, he gets +2 attack. When Captain America attacks, this attack gains overkill. At the end of this attack, discard this card. So this is like pseudo fanaticism, right? Not as strong as that, because it only has one use, right? After he attacks, you get rid of it, and there's no piercing. But pretty cool here to give him +2 attack and the overkill there. He can definitely ramp up and go crazy. Very thematic with Super Sword Serum, and also Heroic Strike, very similar to the player card where you can stun, right? But he'll be stunning us this time. And this one actually has different art. Oh man, okay. Is that the only one with the different art? That's pretty cool. Okay, and then we have Falcon here leading the new Avengers. 2 scheme, 2 attack as a minion with 3 hit points, aerial, and the Avenger traits. Teamwork Avenger there, so that's really cool. So if Black Panther comes out, he'll trigger like a quick strike or he'll automatically scheme on you right away. When defeated, give this card to the enemy leader as a face down boost card. This one, when defeated, you give this card to enemy leader as a face down boost card as well. So and the boost here actually look really nasty, right? You are confused. If you are confused, this card gains 2 boost icons. This one is exhaust each upgrade you control. Very, very nasty, guys. And then we also have the Freedom Fighters card right here. So Treachery, resolve the boost ability of each minion play. If no boost abilities were resolved, this card gains Surge. And the new Avengers side scheme that we took a look at earlier. When defeated, we shuffle each minion in the encounter discard pile back into the encounter deck, getting all those minions back. And you do want to get rid of the side scheme that comes out because of that hazard icon, right? So yeah, you're going to be refunding those minions. And then we also have the last scenario here is going to be Spider-Woman, Jessica Drew, 1 scheme, 2 attack. Setup is you find the finesse attachment and you attach to her. So I really like how they have so many attachments here for these scenarios. Max 3 skill counters on here, and as a force interrupt, so you have to trigger it. When Treachery is reviewed, place 1 skill counter on this card. Force interrupt, whenever Spider-Woman attacks, she gets +1 attack for each skill counter on finesse for this attack, and you remove each skill counter from finesse. So she can really power up with her attacks if there are a lot of counters on here, and you get 1 each time a treachery is reviewed. So pretty cool. Spider-Woman kind of building up those counters each time there are treacheries. So I'm guessing there's going to be a ton of treacheries in her encounter set. And then we have Pheromones right here, the same artwork. Whenever you are stunned and confused, oh man, that's really nasty for the player to both get stunned and confused. And you also place a skill counter on finesse. This is a really nasty treachery actually, even though it doesn't do anything immediately. Getting that stunned and confused will really hard the player, and you get that skill counter. And then you have Inconspicuous, the same artwork here. Whenever you choose to discard the highest cost card you control, or Spider-Woman schemes. Yeah, that's nasty. And this card gains a boost icon for each stats on your identity. Oh man, okay. She's going to be giving a lot of stats cards to the heroes. And we have Contaminant Immunity right here. Another attachment +1 scheme. Whenever she would be stunned or confused, discard this card instead and give her a tough stats card. Yeah, that's nasty too. And then let's see, Self-Propelled Glide here. It is a side scheme. Whenever she would take damage from an attack, reduce the amount of damage she takes by 1 for each skill counter on finesse. Yeah, so we probably want to get rid of this side scheme right away whenever it comes out. And then we have the Spider-Man module set with the Defender module set right here. So Spider-Man, 2 scheme, 2 attack, 4 hit points. We already went over what he does. Luke Cage, 1 scheme, 2 attack. Whenever you stun your leader, otherwise you are stunned. So if you're playing this in the PvP version, you'll have a leader. So then you stun that leader. And if you're playing it in the regular co-op version with the scenario, you just stun yourself, your identity, because you don't have a leader, right? And the boost effect also does the same thing. Let me see here. I want to see Tangled Up. I actually didn't get to see this card earlier. So it's an attachment here, Tangled Up, attached to your leader, otherwise attached to your hero. When attached character would scheme, thwart, or attack, you discard this card instead. Okay, so it's just like a webbed up. Very thematic there, but for everything, right? For a scheme, thwart, or attack. If the Spider minion is in play, reveal this card. Oh, okay, only has a boost effect. If it's not in play, you don't have to do anything with the boost. So that's pretty cool. Only Spider-Man can tangle up people. And then, yeah, we have Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, 2 scheme, 1 attack, 3 hit points. Confuse your leader, otherwise you are confused. And we also have the Defenders side scheme. Hinder 1, each minion gains guard there. Yeah, so, this one isn't that bad. But yeah, that is it with all of that stuff right there with the co-op stuff. So now let's go over the PvP stuff over here. So it's hero versus hero, and they've alluded to it a few times up to this point. So now we're going to talk about the new optional mode here. Okay, so this is I really like that they did this right here, because without this, I'm kind of a visual person. I would not know what is going on here. So I've thought about PvP for Marvel Champions, and I thought that there was no really way for this to really work out. But I like what they have here. I'm not sure if it's going to be fun, but it looks good so far, right? So basically you have an enemy leader, right? So it's kind of like your leader. and then you have up to 2 heroes that you can play with. So you can play with yourself, or you can do up to 4 players, right? Like you, your friend versus like your arch nemesis, and then like their friend, right? And then there is an enemy leader, which will kind of refer to as the villain. So I think that's pretty cool. And then you also have a main scheme, and you have your own encounter deck right here. And there's also an imposing encounter deck as well, right? I think that translates really well. So you can kind of use like your own regular player deck that you like, deck build for. And then there's still an encounter deck to like manipulate and stuff like that. And there's still going to be a main scheme. And basically the loss condition, I saw that a little bit earlier, but down below it's going to talk about the loss condition. Basically, if the main scheme pops, or like, threats out, or if your team leader dies, or if both identities or all the identities get defeated, right? If you're doing solo with another solo player, then you just have one identity. So if your identity is knocked out, then you lose the game. If you're a team leader, it's knocked out, you lose the game. If you're doing multiplayer, both identities must get knocked out for your team to lose, or the team leader gets knocked out, or if the main scheme pops, right? So that's kind of the 3 loss conditions that you have: main scheme popping, enemy leader getting knocked out, and all the identities getting knocked out. Yeah, so that's going to be pretty cool here, and you can have your own decks here. I'm sure that the decks that are good in like, true solo for co-op won't be as good in PvP, because I'm sure there's different things that you want to do, right? I'm not entirely sure, because I would think that building out is not going to be as good, because if your opponent right here is like doing really high tempo and like rushing you down, and you're taking your time and building out, that might not be the best way to work out, which is pretty fun, like balancing building out and rushing your opponent down. Okay, so this mode can be played in 1 versus 1 or 2 versus 2, with players splitting up their team registration and team resistance. So you choose which side that you're on, and you choose a leader to represent you, whether it's the Iron Man one from that scenario, or the Captain America one. Now they're going to be on your side as a team leader if you are a resistance or a registration, like that faction. And then let's see here. So instead of the standard encounters, that you'll use the new standard PvP set here. Okay, so once each team has built a scenario, they swap scenarios with each other, and then the resistance players will face off against the registration team's custom scenario, and vice versa. And then here is the standard PvP, the standard set here for PvP. And this is one of the treasury cards here. So enemy leader schemes: if there is more than 1 player on your team, give the enemy leader an additional boost card for his activation. So basically, it's just the enemy leader scheming, right? So if you're facing against here, it's going to be this Captain America that's going to be scheming, not the heroes here, because they can really only thwart, right? That'll be during the player phase when they're doing stuff, and during, like my turn right here, it's going to be, this Captain America is going to be the one that we want to, or he's going to be the one that's probably going to be doing stuff if we were attacking him, doing stuff like that, right? And then here we have whatever it takes. It's another standard PvP card right here. Treachery: when reviewed an alter ego, the enemy leader attacks your leader, and when reviewed, the enemy leader attacks you. So this is kind of the attacking one. And then targeted strike here is going to be another treachery in the standard PvP set. So when reviewed, the enemy team searches the top 5. Oh, I really like this one. So enemy team searches the top 5 cards of the encounter deck for a card, and they deal it to you as a face-on encounter card. So I'm imagining like playing against someone, and then like they look at the top 5 cards of that encounter deck, and then you're just watching them like look at it, and you don't know what they're looking at, and they're like, okay, I'm gonna give this to you as an encounter card, right? So pretty similar to like other PvP games where like you have that variability, and I think that's gonna be just really fun there, right? To they do you an encounter card that you don't know what it is, and it'll get revealed like later on, and they'll see you revealing that card that they dealt to you. And then we have choosing sides here as a side scheme. And then this one is permanent. The enemy leader cannot take more than 2 damage from each attack. I think I saw somewhere that this one comes out in play. Oh yeah, each team begins the game with a copy of choosing sides here. Yeah, the enemy leader cannot take more than 2 damage from each attack. As a forced response after the attack threat, the last threat is removed from here. The enemy team searches the top 5 cards in the encounter deck for 1 per player encounter cards, and deals 1 to each player as a face encounter card. So once again, that mechanic of like the enemy team looking through your encounter deck, and then dealing you cards that they want, and then kind of like choose and pick where they want, which is pretty cool. And then when the side scheme is complete, it flips over to now it's personal. So it's going to be an obligation here: give to the first player. As an action, remove this card from the game, and each player on your team chooses 2 of your leaders set aside player cards and adds them to their hand. So the player cards here are pretty interesting and pretty thematic here, right? So the Iron Man one has the futures card that you can get, 2-cost event. Action your Iron Man leader schemes, and do not give him a boost card for his activations. You can kind of boost up the threat on your main scheme, because you want to threat that out, right? Because you're not thwarting out, you're throwing out the opponent's main scheme, but you want your main scheme to complete, so you can have your Iron Man leader scheme, which is pretty fun. And then you have raw power for Captain Marvel. Your response after you spend this resource, place 2 energy counters on your Captain Marvel leader's energy channel attachment. And then let's see, we also have one for Captain America. He has the shield here, 0 cost upgrade. Whenever the enemy leader will attack you, you attach Cap's shield to your Captain America leader and resolve this attack against him instead, and discard his card. So Captain America leader is gonna jump in the way and block the attack for you, which could be good and bad. And then we also have the Spider-Man one right here, Double Agent, 2 cost event. That you can play. Action, remove 2 threat from the main scheme. Replace 2 threat on your leader's main scheme. Yeah, so very similar to a lot of Jessica Drew's stuff there. I think that's like her obligation that we have that's similar to that. Yeah, and the battle continues until only one team remains and a team is eliminated whenever the leader is defeated, when they let the enemy main scheme complete its stage 2B, or all their team's identities are defeated. How will you fight for your team's ideals? Yeah, that's all we got so far for the PvP box. I am not entirely sure how I feel about it yet. I am always hopeful, so I'm excited. I'm definitely going to try it out. I'm not sure if it's going to go super smoothly. It looks good so far with how it's designed, but worst case scenario, at least we still have really cool scenarios that I think will be fun, as individual scenarios that we can just face, on their own, with like the Iron Man scenario, the Captain America scenario, and so on. So at least we have that. But if this PvP mode is fun, I mean, that's going to be pretty fun to do. Yeah, actually playing the PvP. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully everything runs smoothly with that. I like how they intertwined it and mixed it with like giving encounter decks and having yourself, team up with a, team leader or like a villain, right? Yeah, so yeah, let me know what you guys think about that PvP mode right here. And then lastly, we have the heroes that were reviewed here. So we have Hulkling and Tigra as the 2 new heroes that were announced. I don't really know how I feel about this. I don't really know these characters too much from the comic book lore. Hulkling, from his artwork here, I'm not the biggest fan of it. Because he has like scales, right? Yeah, I don't know, guys. Let me know some comic book lore about Hulkling and Tigra here. And let me know if you're excited for these heroes. I'm not sure how I feel about them right now. Yeah, so Hulkling's gonna come in a protection deck, and then he can shapeshift. Oh, that's probably why he has all this stuff going on, because of this shape shifting ability. And then we have Tigra here. She had a lot of her ally was actually in the core set, and then she's also on the Power of Aggression card as well in the artwork. But yeah, she's gonna be in aggression, which suits her ally card, and hunting down minions, so more that minion archetype, which I think is really fun right now in Marvel Champions. And then yeah, Civil War heralds the beginning of a bonus wave of Marvel Champions expansions, and then they bring the 4 customizable scenarios with lots of main schemes and module sets, and then there's an expansion on the way that will increase that even further. For the first time since the core set, the first expansion after the big box of this wave will actually be a scenario pack. Oh, cool. Okay. So is this... Yeah, we have She-Hulk and Vision here. Some cool artwork there. And in Synthezoid Smackdown, the battle between Registration and Resistance continues with 2 more customizable scenarios, this time featuring She-Hulk and Vision as leaders. Oh, cool. Oh, so we're going to get more leaders that we can incorporate in. I'm hoping to get a Spider-Man leader instead of just a minion too. That would be really cool. And we'll go over these 2 scenarios at a dedicated article for the pack in its own time, so stay tuned. And these are the silhouettes for the 2 new hero packs here. And yeah, there will only be 2 new hero packs this time around. They're going to both be Avengers. Oh, so we already know that. And both of them will release after the Synthos Smackdown, this scenario pack right here, with a new 2 team leaders. So we're going to be getting a lot more content then, right? Because now it's not just going to be like regular scenario packs. It's going to be like team leaders that you can kind of face. And they will be actually their own scenarios, right? But also intermixable with the PvP mode, right? So everything can just really mix with each other, which I think is really cool. And then we'll share more about each one of them at a later date. And yeah, a war among heroes. Will you fight alongside Iron Man in favor of the superhero registration, or will you join Captain America on a side of the resistance? Choose a side and dive into this conflict of heroes when the Civil War arrives in September, guys. That feels like it's really early for some reason. Yeah, it feels like it's coming pretty soon. And you can pre-order your own copy of Civil War at your local retailer or online through our website today. Written by Peter Shoemaker here. So shoutouts to Peter S. Yeah, all right, guys, that is it here. So a lot of news to unpack with this one. Let me know what you guys are feeling. I think that the scenarios look really cool, right? Like the Spider-Woman scenario and the Captain America scenario with the shield. We have Captain Marvel and Iron Man. I think that's going to be solid, like a good hit no matter what. I'm not sure if the PvP is going to be awesome yet, but I like how we have this encounter deck here. Let me know what you guys are feeling. Are you guys excited to see a PvP mode in Marvel Champions, or do you just prefer the the co-op solo play? Yeah, I'll see you guys all in the next video.